Hey guys, welcome to our math lesson. Let's get started by reading our learning target. Remember, our learning target helps to focus what it is that we need to be able to do. I can measure the length of an object in inches and centimeters. What does that word measure mean? Measure means to find the length, the width, or the weight by comparing it to an unknown unit. Okay, so we're looking at an unknown item, the length of it, and we're going to measure it to find that unknown part. Okay, now let's look at that word length. Length is a measurement that tells the distance from one point to another or how long something is. So the length is how long something is, and we use a ruler. Currently, that's the measuring tool that we have been practicing with, is a ruler that helps us to measure in inches and centimeters. Well, what is an inch? An inch is a unit of length, and we can think about a quarter. A quarter is about 1 inch across. And then we have centimeter. Centimeter is a smaller unit of measure than inches. Centimeters are in the metric system, and inches are in the standard measuring system. Okay, we'll learn more about that next week. So a centimeter is a unit of length, and the length or the width across your pinky finger is about 1 centimeter. And then we're going to talk about units. Units is a part that is used to measure. Remember, we read how big is a foot? And the king's foot was not the same size as the apprentice foot. So when they went to make the bed for the queen, they didn't have that unit that was the same. So the bed wasn't an accurate size, right? So when I think about a unit, I think about the consistency of that item. So an inch is a unit. A centimeter is a unit. It's what we are using to consistently measure, okay? All right, now in order for you to be able to be successful with this learning target, you're going to need to be able to use a ruler correctly, accurately measure an object. Accurately means correctly, so correctly measure an object. And you're going to need to know the difference in inches and centimeters in order to be successful with our learning target, okay? All right, so we've been practicing with measuring. Yesterday, you had an activity where you got to measure real objects. Measurement is a tool that we need in life. Once you have graduated from high school, if you choose to go to college or if you choose to just go and get a job, we have to use measurement in our everyday lives to hang pictures on the walls, to know how far we need to get to another location. Measurement is used all around us, so it's really important that we know how to do this, okay? All right, so for this lesson, you will need your Ready Math Journal, and you will need a ruler, either a real ruler or the printed ruler that was posted on Google Classroom. That ruler is posted on Google Classroom. Remember, you could print it off and use that, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are on page 511 in our Ready Math Journal. 511. I want to see what great measuring students you are today. So what we're going to do is you're going to solve the problem, and then we're going to go over it together to check our work, okay? We want to know if we are able to use a ruler correctly, if we are able to accurately or correctly measure objects, and if we know the difference in inches and centimeters. All right, here we go. Question number 1, use a ruler. What is the length of the bracelet in inches? All right, I want you to go ahead and answer that question. All right, so remember, if our ruler has a 0, we start at the 0. If our ruler doesn't have a 0, then it's assumed that the 0 is at the end of the ruler. We line up the beginning of the object with our 0 or our assumed 0 at the end, okay? Then we follow. Oops, let me get to my smaller one so it's more accurate size like yours is in your book. All right, so I start at the beginning, and then I go across to the end and see where on my ruler the bracelet ends. It ends at the 6. So this bracelet is 6 inches long. Remember, that unit is important. We have to identify that. So this bracelet is 6 inches long. All right, now let's go to number 2. Use a ruler. What is the length of the piece of celery? Okay, here we're going to be using centimeters. I know that because the answer choices are all in centimeters. So go ahead and measure and then come back and we'll check. All right, so here is where we, in our success criteria, are being able to know the difference in inches and centimeters. So find the centimeter side on your ruler. What do you notice about the centimeters that's different than the inches? The centimeters are a smaller unit of measure, aren't they? All right, so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to practice with that success criteria of how to use our ruler correctly. So if there's a 0 on our ruler, what goes on that 0? The beginning of our object. If there's not a 0 on our ruler like Miss Gaskins, where do I start? At the end. All right, let's go ahead and let's do that. All right, then I look to the end of my object and see where it stops on my ruler. Mine is about 10 centimeters, so I'm betting that is what yours is also. So the correct answer for number 2, how long is the piece of celery? It is 10 centimeters long, okay? All right, how are we doing with that success criteria, guys? Are we doing well? Need a little help? Not doing so good. All right, great. Let's keep going. All right, number 3. I'm going to switch to my bigger one for this one so that I can read it. Susie and Gary are measuring a piece of wood. Susie's piece is 3 inches long. Gary's piece is 9 inches long. Whose piece of wood is larger? All right, go ahead and answer that question and then come back and check. All right, so whose piece of wood is longer? 3 inches or 9 inches? Which one's longer? Well, if we compare, here's 3 inches and here is 9 inches. So which one would be longer, 3 inches or 9 inches? A 9-inch item would be longer. So Gary's piece is longer. All right, great job, guys. Kiss your brains. All right, now let's go ahead and let's go to number 4. Question number 4. Use a ruler. Which pencils are 6 centimeters long? So I see that word pencils. It has an S at the end, so that means there's going to be more than one. So we're going to have to measure them to know which one is 6 centimeters. This goes back to our success criteria. Are we able to use the ruler correctly? Are we accurately able to measure an object? Do we know the difference in inches and centimeters? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead, find your centimeter side of your ruler. Go ahead and answer the question. When you're done, let's come back and check. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Remember, accurately using our ruler, if there's a 0, we start on the 0. If not, we start on the end. Oh, I can already tell that that pencil is way longer than 6 centimeters. All right, let me go to B. All right, C. All right, so I think I have found which one is 6 centimeters. Did you find which one is 6 centimeters? Yeah, it was C and E. C and E. You can even tell here that they're the same length, right? They start at the same place and they end at the same place. Great job. All right, I'm going to go ahead and flip back to my larger one so that we can read it better. All right, number 5. List the steps of measuring a toy car with a centimeter ruler. Imagine you are teaching someone who has never used a ruler. All right, so think back to that success criteria. Okay, are you able to use a ruler correctly? You need to explain to somebody how to use a ruler. Can you accurately measure an object? Think about those things that you need to do in order to accurately measure an object. That goes back to how to use a ruler, right? And knowing the difference in inches and centimeters, that's something that we would need to explain to them. All right, so go ahead and answer question number 5. When you're done, let's come back and check. All right, so list the steps of measuring a toy car with a centimeter ruler. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we have our car and we have our ruler. So that's our first step. Get the car. and the ruler. Okay? Rulers usually have 2 units of measure on them, right? They usually have inches and centimeters. So what do we need to do in order to measure in centimeters? All right, so 2, we need to find the centimeter side of the ruler. Find centimeters on the ruler. Okay? Once we found the centimeter side on the ruler, what do we need to do in order to measure this toy car? All right, we need to line the beginning of the car up with either the end of the ruler or the 0. So put the car at the 0 on the ruler. All right, now that it's at the 0 on the ruler, what do I need to do next? Go to the end of the item, go to the end of the car, and see what number is below, okay? I'm going to say see what number is below on the ruler. That way it gives somebody more direction. See what number is below on the ruler. Okay? Do we know how long it is now? Yeah, so now you know how long the car is. All right, great job today, guys. All right, I want you to rate yourself on how you feel about our learning criteria. Did you meet it, or do you still need some more practice, okay? All right, bye, guys.